Good evening everyone, on whatever glorious evening you are in of quarantine when I upload this or when you're watching this. For me it is Saturday night. Whoop whoop. I have makeup on at least. Yeah, so I think we're like day 3 officially into quarantine. Day 5 for me because I actually had to take 2 days off because someone I know had to get COVID tested, and until they got the all clear I was like housebound. They got the all clear, thank God. But yeah, I actually haven't left my house in 5 days other than to go to the post office. So we're really locked down vibe. Today was the first day I literally was like, how did I do this for 3 months? Like I literally today was like, I'm so lonely, like what the hell. But then I was like, do you know what I think it is? I think it was because like obviously last lockdown, like the breakup happened kind of early on into lockdown, and then I didn't want to see anyone else. I just literally wanted to be by myself. I was like, oh my god, this is the first time in years I have all this time to myself. Like why on earth would I want to see anyone at all this time around? Throughout the summer I spent so much time with like my friends and made new friends and just had such a good time, and even up until like recently have obviously been like seeing those friends a lot, and none of them live near me. Obviously I have a few friends that live near me, but yeah, like a lot of my friends don't live near me. And then I think last night I was just laying in bed and I was just like, I just want to see my friends. But it's fine, I'm actually grand. I feel like I just needed the day to be a bit like sad for myself, do you know? Anyway, I won't bore you with my quarantine-ness, but I do like to tell people that because I feel like a lot of the time people see me being real positive about it on social media, and I'm like, no, I do have my days. I think overall I'm definitely very positive about the whole situation, but I have my days. I think it was just as well because I forgot about these days. I think everyone has these days, you have to allow yourself these days, but I completely forgot that they exist, or they existed in the last one for me as well, and I was like, oh my god, like no, this quarantine isn't going to be the same for me. But no, today I'm going to be doing a video. Let's talk about sex, baby. Was that really cringe? I feel like it was, whatever. Anyway, we're going to talk about sex and feeling sexy. I think it's something I've always wanted to speak about on my channel, but just haven't. I won't even go into why, there's literally no need, but we'll just get onto it. So I put a question box on my Instagram and basically just kind of said, I want you to ask me like your sex questions if you had any general sex questions, but then also let's have a conversation about female sexuality and feeling sexy. And a lot of people wrote in kind of like the male gaze and stuff, so I guess in terms of like, do women want to feel sexy in terms of like doing it for the male gaze and internalized male gaze, or do we like actually want to do it for ourselves? And I think it's something that over the years, like I've definitely had to teach myself to want to be sexy for myself and not for someone else. And then I've also had like other people kind of in my ear saying like, oh, why are you wearing that? Like who are you trying to impress? Like that kind of thing. So I definitely think overall in society there's like this whole like you can't be sexy unless it's for someone else. Now I'm just gonna get into the questions and then obviously we can discuss, so I'll keep them all anonymous, don't worry, but I am going to pop them up here. So the first one says, how to be sex confident in a relationship, scared he'll think I'm too much. Too much. So if anyone ever tells you you're too much in no matter what the circumstances is, it's just like a no-go. I even think in terms of like sex and stuff, like obviously I think like, you know, if it's like a one-night stand or whatever, I don't know, it's a little less daunting then, because then you can be like, oh fuck it, I'm never gonna see them again. But then also I think, say if it's someone who you're dating, you might not want to give it too much like the first time or whatever. But I don't know, personally I feel like I'm gonna like relate it to the last person I had sex with. I was just like, this is what I like, this is what I want. So like if you're freaked out by that, we're probably not gonna work, you know? I'd rather be up straight with someone and be like, okay, if you think I'm too much, this is what I enjoy, that kind of thing. Or I don't know, then again, like confident, I don't know. I feel like as well in terms of like feeling too much, maybe are you embarrassed about like how you're portraying your confidence, like that kind of thing. I wouldn't overly worry about it. And then I think the biggest thing with sex, especially if it's someone who you're having like regular sex with, is like communication. So like speak to them, say, do you think there's anything I'm doing that you maybe don't like or you would like me to do differently, like that kind of thing. But I definitely think the words too much, unless it's obviously like overstepping the other person's boundaries in terms of something sexually that they don't feel comfortable with, then I just think the words too much are a bit like, we're not gonna work together, do you know, that kind of way. Still feel so much shame / embarrassment embarrassed. I think it's internalized, but I'm not sure why. Any tips on how to own it? Obviously, I think in Ireland, being such a Catholic country and our history with like the church and the Magdalene laundries and such shame around sex, I think it's completely normal to feel shame around sex. I also think like in Ireland, it's still not something that's like openly spoke about. Like I know, like I've said things out loud in front of my mom and she's like, oh my god, like that's not for my ears. But I'm like, why? Like you had sex to give birth to me. Obviously it's uncomfortable for me to hear that, but like I know that it's a reality, and I would rather us speak about sex and be open about sex than me hide things. Like I know growing up I definitely hid things like around sex. Even like my period I found like really embarrassing when I first got it and stuff. So I think the best thing is just to, I don't know, text your friends about it, talk to your friends about it. I know even sometimes like when we were in school, like it was still such a weird thing to talk about like with your friends that time, and even amongst girls sometimes, groups of girls, it can be like, oh my god, like we don't talk about what we do in the bedroom. Is where I feel like if you're just with your friends and you're like, I like this during sex or I like this during sex, it just normalizes the conversation and then I guess eliminates some of that shame. So just speak about it, and also speak about it with the person that you're having sex with, I guess, especially if it's a regular thing. Kind of speak about what each other are into, what each other aren't into, that way you can change it all and just like ensure both of you are being pleased. But in terms of, yeah, the shame and stuff, I just say you just need to like just speak about it more. So another thing that I would say with this is self-pleasure, which I know especially for a lot of girls can feel like super uncomfortable, but get to know your own body and get to know what your body likes and then speak about it to people, even though it can feel really weird. But even I remember one time, and I actually never addressed this, but there's a scene in You where the girl in it, I can't remember her name, it was season 1, but she was like rubbing her clit with a pillow, and I was in a car with a group of girls and one of the girls was like, I mean, why the fuck was she rubbing herself with a pillow? Like what the fuck is that gonna do? But like that's a thing, like that is a thing. People rub their clit with a pillow and it gets them off. Now if that were me, I would have been like, oh well, I've done that before and it's worked for me. If I'm too lazy to use my vibrator and I just want a quick, you know, I'm gonna fucking do that. It works. It's just about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone and just actually saying things that might seem embarrassing, but it's actually not, you know. The thing is like everybody's body is different and everybody's body likes different things, especially women. So yeah, I feel like just don't feel embarrassed or ashamed about anything because of that. Like we're all so different. Someone said, I don't feel like I can be sexy because of my body type. It's not the type to usually be portrayed as sexy. Girl, watch both of the Savage Fenty shows on Amazon and you will feel sexy no matter what shape, size, race, anything you are. Honestly, everyone needs to watch it. Hats off to Rihanna for normalizing like literally everybody. But also I would say this one is like something that you just need to do a lot of affirmations in the mirror to yourself too. I think this is more of like a self-love kind of one. With, you know, certain body types being portrayed as more sexy and whatnot, we can often feel like, oh, I won't be sexy until I'm a size 8, or I won't be sexy until I have a fat ass and a thin waist. I literally was the biggest like culprit for this. Obviously I had an eating disorder, and when I started to get better, and definitely the second time after I relapsed, I got really obsessed with like having a fat ass and a thin waist, and I was just like, I won't be sexy until I have a fat ass, blah blah, and I was like in the gym all the time. And then literally only recently I was like, you know what, no, I am sexy. I am sexy even if I have a flat ass, no boobs, and my waist is a bit square. I'm sexy. I'm sexy as fuck. Also, do things for yourself in your body that make you feel sexy. So I know for me, like shaving my getting my coochie wax, dancing around my room naked to some like slow music, using my vibrator, all of these things make me feel sexy. I'm like, oh my god, divine feminine energy. I am queen. I am a sexy bitch. So I would say do all of those things as well. It doesn't matter what you look like. It's all about from inside. So yeah, I feel like it's hard to always feel sexy in yourself when you're not actually having sex with anyone. So kind of similar to the last one as well, I really feel like this is kind of like an internal thing. I was in a relationship for 4 years having regular sex, obviously. I'd say since coming out of the relationship I feel so much more sexy, especially because towards the end of the relationship I hated every moment of the sex, which is like sign that you need to get out of a relationship. But I actually used to cry at the thought of having sex. I hated it. And then when I got out, and I was literally questioning myself, being like, is there something wrong with me? Like, should I go and get my hormones checked? Blah 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 blah. As soon as I got out of the relationship, I was like, oh my god, I fucking love sex. Got a vibrator, and now I feel sexier than ever. And when I do have sex with someone, I know what I like, etc. And then I just feel even sexier because I can tell this person being like, oh my god, no, can you do this please? And I think it's really even sexy as well when you know how to tell someone what you want, you know? So do things for yourself that make yourself feel sexy. Buy yourself new lingerie and look at yourself in the mirror. That is my favorite thing to do. Quite confident in myself, but I'm so shy about being confident and sexy. Like, I'm too shy to express it. So I actually saw this one come in and I kind of had to think about it, because I was kind of like, I actually am reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle at the moment, and it was really interesting that I saw this question on the same day that I read this page in the book, where he basically kind of explains that shy people are shy because their ego is afraid of rejection, like criticism. I'm not saying your ego is any of those things, but I just found it interesting that perhaps maybe you are afraid to express that confidence in case of someone rejecting you or criticizing you or like laughing at you, that kind of thing. So again, similarly to the ones that I just answered, I'd say that's something that you just kind of have to work on yourself and remind yourself that you're a bad bitch. Anyone who doesn't like that energy isn't worth that energy. So there's a second part to the feel like it's hard to be sexy in yourself when you're not having sex with anyone. So the second part is like, as a woman, your sexual self-perception is so often based on external brackets male validation. So this is kind of what I was saying at the start, and it's so true. Like, it is like, I feel like, you know, from a young age, like I remember being in school and like the teachers being like, you can't wear makeup because it distracts the boys, or like you can't wear your skirt short because the boys blah blah blah. But it's kind of like, no, I just want to do this. I'm not doing it for male attention, I'm doing it for myself. In terms of like relating that to not feeling sexy because you're not having sex with someone because of that male validation, I feel like, again, similarly to what I said, that's something that you just have to do work on in terms of like feeling 100% sexy in yourself and doing things for yourself that make you feel sexy. But I definitely agree with that, like that 100%, like we've been trained to believe that we should only be sexy for men, and it's just like, no no no. How to get the D? Right now I literally cannot tell you other than Tinder, and I'm so shit with Tinder. I've literally matched 3 people. Text 2 of them, like 2 texts, and I was just like unmatched. But normally I would say obviously like nightclubs, like dance floors. That's my favorite way to meet people. Other than that, I would just say, I don't know, hang out with friends who have friends of friends, do you know, that kind of way. But I think if you just want a quick fuck, a nightclub is my favorite way to do it, / bar. But like obviously COVID-19, so it looks like 2021 until we're all getting the D. Whoop whoop. That's all I really have to say on that one. I get this, whether it's a sex video or not, I get a question being like, how to get the D, manage post breakup sex and that kind of thing, and I'm literally like, I cannot tell you. I literally have no answers. I'm really sorry. I'm quite insecure about how high my body count is compared to my friends. Oh, this one is so, like, I can't believe body count is still a thing. I know obviously when you're younger it's a much bigger thing than it is now, but also another fucking red flag. If a boy asks your body count or whatever your sexual preference is, I just feel like if the person that you're talking to about getting into a relationship with asks your body count, I think it's a bit weird personally. I personally would never ask someone their body count. I just think it's like none of your business. Like, the past is the past. We're in each other's present and each other's futures. Like, we shouldn't be in each other's past unless we decide to tell the person's past, you know? I just, yeah, I wouldn't be insecure about it. I can understand why. I feel like I definitely was when I was like young as well, because I did a lot of damage before I was 20. And looking back, do I regret it? Honestly, sometimes I'm like, yeah, but then I'm also like, no, because I look at it now as a 24-year-old and I'm like, if someone asked my body count, I'd tell them to literally fuck off. It's none of their business. You know, if you're insecure about it and your friends, I don't know, flag you about it or whatever, maybe say, look, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't like that you're bringing that up with me. I'm actually quite insecure about it. But also I just don't think it should be something that you should be insecure about, because at the end of the day, sex is sex. Some people's are really low, some people's are higher. I know for me, when I was like 16 to 20, I was single. So, or single, or like seeing people kind of on and off. So like obviously my body count is going to be higher than my friends who were in relationships. Do you know that kind of way? Is where like in the past 5 years I've only slept with 2 people. So like it's mad. It's like previous 4 years it was double digits. So like it just shows you when you're in a relationship and when you're like not in a relationship, everything is so different. So like I wouldn't be insecure about it because everyone's circumstances are completely different. So yeah, and also once you get to a certain age, it just doesn't matter. So yeah, how do you go about casual sex with someone not in the headspace for a relationship? Feel like you kind of have to remind yourself that you only want casual sex, because I know myself anyway. I am like, I don't want a relationship, I only want casual sex, and then I am literally like, why aren't they texting me all the time? Like, is this what? And also maybe say to them like, look, I don't want anything serious from this, that kind of thing. But I feel like it can be hard, because obviously I feel like sex is such an intimate thing. So whether or not you're like actually in love with the person, like you exchange this like series of emotions when you have sex. So like it can then be a bit like, oh my god, like blah blah blah. So I think just constantly remind yourself of the fact that you only want casual sex, and maybe try and text other people and stuff as well, so that it's a constant reminder of that. But yeah, I'm probably not the best person to ask for that. I'm just like not great at casual sex, but I want to get better at it because I am not ready for a relationship either. And the next question, when this came in, I was pissing myself. Have you been in a relationship before? I was like, girl, you must be new. Did you miss the breakup? So that was a 4-year relationship, and it's kind of funny because I feel like during the summer I was very resentful towards the relationship and the person, and really just hated everything about it. But I look at it now and I definitely feel like I've healed a lot. Don't get me wrong, there's things that I'm not gonna say I don't forgive, because I really genuinely actually forgive and just want to forget, but I definitely think there was some things that I'm never gonna be able to like forget. Obviously I forgive, but like I'm just like, whatever, it's in the past and I want to move on with my life. So literally I don't hold any hard feelings. But it was definitely a very toxic relationship, and I think what I've realized lately is I should have left years ago, because I think the longer I allowed it to go on, the more resentment I kind of build up, and then that also made me a very toxic person. So I don't think I was myself in that relationship at all. I think I was actually a horrible person in that relationship. Yeah, I just hope that the lesson that I've learned from that relationship is that I can just pick up on things that like are red flags for me, that I know aren't going to work for me, that I know that me and this person were never going to work together, that I knew and just ignored. So I think the biggest lesson that I hope that I take from that relationship is to pick up on those things and not go with something because I'm lonely and because I'm sad and because I just want someone to love me, you know? Is that really deep? And that I was in a relationship when I was 14 until I was 16. That was kind of long for that age. And then I was kind of just seeing people here and there on and off. Someone said, this is a weird one. Long hair is sexier than short, question mark. I've always had short hair and held back cutting my hair shorter because I feel like you are seen as less desirable or hot if you don't have long flowing hair, if that makes sense. But now I own the shit out of my short hair and I'm comfortable with my body and ignoring male desires. Honestly, own the fucking short hair. I feel like short hair is so powerful and sexy and such a power move, and it's just like, I am a hot bitch. Tips for feeling sexy in wintry clothes for a gal, me, who's usually half in the nip. I feel like I relate to this a lot because I also am usually half in the nip, but I feel like in wintry clothes, like it can be hard in like jumpers and stuff, but I guess, I don't know, something I do sometimes would be like wear like a short skirt and like a big jumper, or else wear something big on the bottom so that I can wear like a crop top, or else wear like stuff like this. So like I'm still warm, but I still have like a little bit of skin on show. And I'm not saying you have to have skin on show to feel sexy, but also, again, similarly to like the earlier ones, it's all about how you carry yourself, your walk, how you hold yourself, how you talk to people. So it doesn't always have to be about your clothes and what you're wearing. I don't know, sometimes I think like more wintry clothes can be sexier if the right person is carrying them. I personally think how someone carries themselves is what makes them the sexiest. It's like, again, affirmations. Stand in your wintry clothes in the mirror and say, I'm a sexy bitch. Get over the awkwardness of queefing in bed. I feel like it just happens, so just go with it, have a giggle about it and just be like, whoops, like it happens. It's literally like biology, so I feel like just giggle about it and move on. 3 years into my relationship and I feel myself being less sexy in myself and too comfortable. Okay, I feel like with this one, maybe just, I don't know, spice things up, try new positions. If you haven't already, like watch porn together and then like get ideas from that. I know, like, as I said, for me, I hated having sex towards the end of my relationship, and we tried those things and stuff, and then I was like, okay, I'm still not into this. I think I'm just not in love with you anymore. So yeah, hopefully it's not that. I'm sure it's not, but like maybe just explore that possibility as well. Someone said, I've never looked at myself as sexy. Am I supposed to? Sending love as always. No, I don't think we're supposed to look at ourselves as sexy, but I think there's something magic about feeling sexual energy. Like, I just think sexual energy is so powerful, especially as a woman, because like, look at us, we're amazing. I'm not saying you have to, but I think explore it because it's very powerful energy. I love it. So, yeah, and sending you love too, baby girl. And then how to feel sexy with scars. Again, I think this is something which is another one of those things that you just have to kind of accept and breathe into yourself. And I know it's really hard. I had scars. I used to have really bad ones on the inside of my legs, and I would be so paranoid about like men going near there because of the scars. But I just think, you know, at the end of the day, if someone is going to judge you for that, again, like I've said with so many other things, they're not worth your energy. If people aren't going to see that as sexy, they're not worth your energy. So I think it's again all about like finding that confidence within yourself. What was your first time like? I actually don't want to discuss it. It was really not good. It wasn't the magic first time. It was actually horrific. My eating disorder definitely held me back from feeling sexy during my recovery and putting on weight. Even though it was healthy, definitely made me not feel very sexy. Did you feel this? Honestly, throughout my whole eating disorder and my recovery, like sexy was the opposite of anything I felt. So yeah, definitely. And I think especially when you put on weight and stuff, especially because I think during your eating disorder, like you don't even think about that. Like all you can actually think about is skinny, and like it's not even like it's sexy, it's like it's desirable. I don't know. So I feel like yes, I definitely felt that, but I don't think I even considered trying to feel sexy until I was like in the right headspace. And I think there was a lot of things that had to come, like self-confidence. I feel like the biggest thing with feeling sexy is feeling confident as well. So until you actually feel in any way confident in yourself, I think it's going to be hard to work on that. So I would just say work on the confidence in general before kind of trying to feel sexy, because you don't want to push yourself too far as well, because it's definitely really hard. It's hard when you don't have an eating disorder, but then when you're faced with your body changing so much and stuff as well, it's really hard. You're kind and loving to yourself. You have all the time in the world to feel sexy, and I promise that you will get there. I'm a virgin but feel so uncomfortable at the thought of having a one-night stand. Is that normal? Okay, yes, 100%, because obviously I just got out of a relationship. I was literally like, when I first got out of it, I was the idea of just having a one-night stand and like forgetting someone's name. Like, I've done that obviously in the past. The idea of that for me now, I'm just like, couldn't do it. Definitely think it's normal. I think it's normal as well, as I said earlier, because like sex is such a emotional thing, to want to have more than just like one night with them. Okay, huge realization after reading Animal. Would highly recommend. I'm allowed to feel sexy if I want. Like, it's a state of mind, not just being naked, and nobody's stopping me except for myself. That is amazing, because that's literally what I said earlier. Like, it's not about the clothes you're wearing, it's not about like anything, it's literally a state of mind. And that's what I said, I feel like it's how a person carries yourself. I'm actually gonna get that book for lockdown. I'm terrified of going down on lads because I don't think I'm good at it and don't stay down long enough to find out. Okay, again, I think this is something that you have to just keep going at, and honestly, like, maybe try and find, I don't know if you're in a relationship or like with different people, but I definitely feel like I didn't get to figure out that I was really good at giving head until I was in a relationship, or like seeing someone at least. I can't believe I'm here just saying I'm good at giving head. But I also don't think I got like good at it until I was like had a steady partner, and that I think you just have to like, you have to be comfortable with someone, and you have to, how am I doing? Like, you need feedback, you need to know how you're doing, because otherwise how can you know and how can you improve? So I think find someone you're comfortable with giving regular head and just ask them how it's going. Because honestly, do me a favor, do you know how many boys like I would love to just be able to say, you're not doing this right, to me? Because like I feel like a lot of men don't know how to give head, and then I feel like a lot of women are also kind of embarrassed to be like, you're doing a shit job. So I feel like if we all just got a little bit more comfortable with saying, actually, could you do this instead of what you're doing, the world would be a much better place, and everyone would be much happier because everyone would be getting better head. Communication. So that's all the questions, and I have spoken for so long, and my dinner is downstairs, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. But I think the final thing that I want to add to this whole thing is obviously what that person said in the question from that book. Sexy is a state of mind. It's not about how you look. It's not about what you're wearing. It's a state of mind, and as I said, sexual energy is so powerful. Use it. Sex sells. No, I'm only joking. But I just think sex is such powerful feminine energy that we should all like utilize and like make the most of, because it's so fun. So I'm gonna end this with saying, buy yourself a vibrator and enjoy your lockdown, okay? Make this time for you. And yeah, thanks for watching. Oh, and final thing I want to say, if you've made it this far, please shop my hoodies, shop my teas, Subtle Poison, we love to see. Thanks for watching, bye, love you.